guys, this is Leah, Michelle, Justin, and Kansas Matt coming at you for Resistance Chicks, and we have an awesome kind of interview, a big blessing. Special episode, Blacksmith edition.
Okay, so a lot of you have seen some of our other videos. I just want Justin to just start out, maybe if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself. You don't have to tell your whole story from, birth to now. But
even though it's a great story.
It is an awesome story.
Well, I guess I'll start out where I met the Lord.
Okay, good idea.
Growing up, I didn't grow up in church. I didn't know the Lord. I lived a crazy life, full of adrenaline rushes and drugs and girls, money, anything that I could do to please my flesh and to basically get a rush.
Out of life.
Yeah, out of life. That's what I did, and that's what I thought life was all about. Was making the most of this life.
Right.
While we're here.
Makes sense.
Because it doesn't last forever.
Right.
We got one life to live.
Right.
So,
where did that lead you? That kind of led you down a rabbit hole. I mean, you almost died a couple times.
So it basically led me to drugs and alcohol, sex, pornography, just all this destruction that almost took my life. So basically, I met Michelle and Leah, and they were the ones, and Matt, and they were the ones who helped lead me to the Lord. And Jesus found me a few years ago.
Jesus found Justin.
I was lost in the world and in myself, and it's been a tough road since I came to know the Lord. It hasn't been easy. It's been a struggle.
Do you want to tell them,
my flesh has been weak,
Cincinnati, how prominent heroin has been here, and you have had friends who are not with us anymore?
Yeah, heroin is a huge problem in Cincinnati, along with all over the country, and yeah, I've seen people overdose.
Literally, you've seen it.
And many of my friends that I went to school with, probably close to a dozen of them have died in either car wrecks related to drugs and alcohol, or just overdosing on heroin.
And you went to Teen Challenge, but one young man that you were good friends with this summer, Jay.
Yeah.
He's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
He's in heaven. I believe he's in heaven.
Oh, he's totally in heaven.
But
and there's more souls being brought to the Lord because of that kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know, do you want to talk about going to Pure Life? You don't have to.
Yeah, I guess so. So I went to Teen Challenge, and after Teen Challenge, when I got out of the program there,
you moved in here.
I got to know the Lord.
This was his bedroom, right here where we're at right now.
It was.
This was where his bed was. We sectioned off a room for him.
Sorry, go ahead.
But basically, my life was different. After Teen Challenge, I had a relationship with the Lord there, but then when I got out of the program, I just didn't walk it out, and basically just started living in darkness. When I did something to sin against God and affect the relationships of the people I was living with, my friends and family, I kept it hidden and in the dark and was ashamed of it. And so my sin was exposed at one point.
And it looked like we were hitting rock bottom again, but lo and behold, God is like, no, Justin, I have a plan for your life.
That rock bottom was almost the Lord. Like it was not that he planned it, but he knew that it was going to happen, and so he incorporated it in his plan.
And there was another place that you were called to go to.
He wasn't near done with you yet. He's going to carry
he's so not
the
done with
rest
you.
of the way.
So I went to this place in Kentucky called Pure Life Ministries, and it definitely has changed my life, and the Lord has used Pure Life in a amazing way to set me free in areas that I had no answers for. Couldn't see freedom just in it at all. And
we'll put a link at the end of the video for you guys to check that place out.
Yeah, so Pure Life is basically a place for people who struggle with sexual sin, pornography, and adultery and homosexuality and all types of sexual sin. Which is
a bigger epidemic in our country than heroin and drugs will ever be, because this affects people in the church. It's secret everywhere. I mean, every church has multiple members.
Even Amish people there?
Yeah. Yeah, a number of Amish friends that were in the program with me, yeah.
Were there ministers there? Like pastors or preachers or youth ministers that you...
Yeah, definitely. A lot of youth ministers.
Some youth pastors.
Worship leaders, all across the board in ministry. All different types of people from all walks of life.
But they're there, and the reason that you were there is because you were hungry to be free. Like, this was a burden that you were bearing. Like, I don't know how to get rid of this. Only God can.
And he was at the place, I think, of Matthew 5, the Sermon on the Mount, where blessed are the poor in spirit, for there's the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
And he's at that place of blessed are those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled.
Yeah.
And he is hungry.
Yeah. So in Pure Life, I mean, the sexual sin is just like something that they say. A lot of people go to Pure Life thinking that, okay, I just have this one little problem, this pornography or this girl in my life that I need to get rid of, and just need to go through this program and get rid of this small problem in my life, this sexual sin. And when you're there at Pure Life, they don't put the spotlight on the sexual sin like
you would think.
Like everyone would think, yeah. Mainly they put the spotlight on you and what's inside of you and the wretch that you really are. But it's good because it gives you're able to get a real side of yourself before the Lord, and then therefore after that draws you to repentance, real repentance.
Wow.
And then you're able to get a real sight of the cross and of Jesus and what the Lord was meant for. And
it's so powerful.
So it's all Jesus. It's just getting a sight, because when you're in sexual sin, you're completely blinded to, so many things. All you see is just that sin that's in your face, and that's the problem. And you can't see the self-centered drive in your life, this selfishness, and that you just are consumed with the self-life.
And it actually eats you up, and you can't ever fulfill it, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of, there's no end. There's no like, oh, this was it, I'm done, this is good, like eating a good meal. It's something that just kind of...
Yeah, and that's what, sexual sin is, all about taking from somebody. Even if it's just imagining it or fantasizing about it, when you lust after a woman, you're taking from her, whether she knows it or not.
Right.
You're hurting her. And so one thing that's been on my mind just the past few days again, I've had to remind myself that when I'm inclined to lust after a woman out at the store, out in public or something, to combat that, I had to pray for her and give back to her.
Take heed, people.
Did you hear that?
I pray that the Lord would give her life.
Say that again.
And that the Lord would help her to know Him. That the Lord would bless her. And the Lord would have mercy on her and pour out His mercy in her life. And
we're done. That's awesome. That sums everything up right there. No, I'm kidding. That is amazing, powerful stuff right there, man. You're giving unto them. Wow.
So that's how you combat it. Even though, the flesh is raging and we're in a fallen world, and
there's so many temptations out there. The internet's everywhere. The magazines are everywhere. We're not 100 years ago where you're living on your farm. When you're just
it's ugly out there.
So
when you go out to the store, it's like.
And we're probably deceiving ourselves if we don't think that the devil's going to try to come in, because if he tried to attack Jesus, then he's going to try to attack us, but we go on the offense like he did with the word.
Right.
So that kind of leads me into when you're blacksmithing, I'm guessing that your mind is clearer and you're focused on blacksmithing.
We'll give a quick summary on how you started blacksmithing.
Well, that's like a long story too, but basically, I was a machinist before I knew the Lord, a welder and a machinist, and always did metal work. But then after coming to know the Lord and starting a relationship with Jesus, I realized that the Lord put those skills in me, and that they weren't necessarily, the skills that God gave me weren't the thing that's in vain. It was just the way I was using them. So God gave me a new vision for using the skill that He gave me in the hands
this is
that He's blessed
I'm
me
so
with.
blown away by.
To start blacksmithing, which is like, I don't know, it's just pretty cool to me how I was a super modern machinist, the most advanced technology, $1 million machinery, $1 million in parts that I was working on, and then I go back to
Ancient.
it's like everything with the Lord is like flip-flopped, and even that has been flipped in my life, like going back to the most primitive way of working with steel and metal that there is, and that's blacksmithing. So it's been challenging, actually. It's not easy. It's hard to do, but it's been really awesome. And
How do you feel machining versus like 12 hours a day in a dark industry versus when you're creating something on your own? What's the difference in how you feel?
Well, I mean, it's definitely totally different, because in a shop working for somebody else, I guess it's just because you're working for man. Even though you can go into work at a place and work for the Lord and be under authority of man and still please God by doing that, but working for yourself is just freeing, and it's very therapeutic. It's really good for your body and for your mind. I got back issues, and my back bothers me a lot, but lately swinging a hammer on an anvil, it really helped my back pain, surprisingly. And yeah, it's great. One thing I've been making is nails, like the nails of Calvary.
And they're
lately,
awesome.
and it's really a special thing for me to do that, because it's like forging the nails that were driven into Christ.
Wow.
And which is what we all have done. You know, we not only drove the nails in there, but we spent time and energy forging the nails that we knew were going to pierce the Lord. And
And you know more than anybody how long that would take to make those nails. You have to put a lot of time and effort into it.
yeah, it's definitely.
If
I don't know the word
I
for
was
it.
just gonna say,
A lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
if
I
I,
don't know the word
I
for
was
it.
just gonna say, you left Pure Life, you went through the program, and now you're living down in Kentucky, and you're working to make, got to make some money till the blacksmith thing takes off, and you're working at the Ark. I have a picture of it up here. What is the
Yeah.
Ark? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about it?
So the Ark is a replica, life-size replica of Noah's Ark. It's the same size as what Noah would have built, and
It's stunning.
it's
We've been
pretty
there.
awesome. Yeah, it's definitely special. It's a special place to be, and I didn't want to work. When I was coming out of Pure Life, I was kind of at a crossroads between like what should I do for job and money to be able to support myself, and so I kind of sought counseling from one of the counselors there, and trusted him to just lead me, him being my spiritual authority.
That's a very humble position to take, I think.
And I briefly shared with him, like, you know, the things that I did in machining, and one thing that he said, he was like, well, you definitely have the credentials to get a very well-paying job. And
Justin was making a lot of money when we met him. That's all you need to say.
But I just didn't feel, I wasn't sure if that's what the Lord was calling me to do, because I want to do what the Lord's laid out for me. Whether I make hardly any money or a lot of money, it's as long as I'm doing what the Lord has for me, that's what's important. And so my counselor, this guy, he suggested to maybe look into working at the restaurant at the Ark, which was like right off the bat, I'm like I never thought I would ever have to work in a restaurant, because I jumped that entry-level hurdle like right out of high school. I didn't have to go into like an entry-level job, make a minimum wage, and I basically jumped right into a career, making great money. So I decided to just trust the Lord and trust the guy who was leading me. And so I took a job at the Ark, and I'm working in a restaurant, and it's been so hard to humble myself. I've had to just endure, you know, putting myself at a level with kids that are 15, 16 years old.
Can we tell them how old you are?
Never had a job before.
Justin's 27. So it's hard for him to kind of go back to have a boss that's like 19.
But you've been able to take your blacksmithing stuff down there, and you sold
God is moving
things, and
while I was in Pure Life, I really surrendered like everything in my life, including my blacksmithing. I didn't know if I would ever be able to pick that up again, if that's what the Lord would have me do. I just had no idea. Just give it all to the Lord. And at my surprise, the Lord has allowed me to live in a place where I got this little tiny shed out back where I've been able to take my tools, my anvil and forge and everything, and set up in this little shed, which is like, I have like this much room like to work. Like I can't even spread my arms out all the way and spin around in a circle.
That's funny.
I got like a 3-foot diameter that I could work in. And but it has been awesome, because the Lord has hooked me up with some people uptown that are opening up a storefront, and they want me to, they're opening up the store the 1st of February, so just in 2 days.
Wow. What's the name of the store?
It's called All God's Creation.
All God's Creations.
So if you go to visit the Ark, which we highly recommend, and go into town in Williamstown
and visit All God's Creations.
Yeah, it's right next to a store called Elmer's, which is a banjo shop. There's Elmer's and All God's Creation. They're owned by the same family. And the Lord has also laid out something at the Ark for me that is kind of classified.
It's not going to be after this. If you don't want to tell people, you don't have to tell.
Not gonna,
Okay.
I'm not
No, it's under wraps.
It's under wraps. You'll have to stay tuned.
It's super awesome, and I'm real excited.
So your stuff is going to be in All God's Creations in the shop, and he's been sending us pictures of different things that he's making, and it's so fantastic.
He's made a sword, and he's made shelves and bell ringers and door knockers, and
I want to kind of backtrack just a little bit briefly. When Justin lived here for like a year and a half, whenever he was working on a project, even whether it was blacksmithing or whatever, even like when he was alone, if he's in torment, I remember when you were working with your hands, it was a freedom. Like that was the time that you were, like you could think straight and really, you know what I mean, not be bound by the lies and the different things that are attacking your brain, you know, because, and so I remember that very clearly. It's really important to,
You might have seen he
when you're working in your calling.
built a sawmill here. They've been they saw wood. He's made all kinds of metal things around here. So I will play it in a minute. I want to show you guys the Ark because I want to plug that, and you can go and see Justin possibly at the Ark and wave and meet him and just tell him how much you enjoy hearing about him and hearing his update. We thank Justin for coming because he didn't. Most people don't want to be on camera. There's a lot of hams out there.
We're not
Justin's
hams.
Justin's a humble guy, so it was, it took us a minute to convince him that you all wanted to hear his story.
Do you have anything else you wanted to add? I can kind of tell. No, I'm done.
I'd say that's the type of person that you actually want to hear from, because if someone wants
What are you trying
the
to say,
limelight, I'm just I'm just saying for me that's kind of a mark
Yeah.
of someone that's really, really humble and that they're just trying to seek God's face. And
Like George Washington, he didn't want the position.
Yeah, where they, like Justin said, they're not living for this life; they're living for the next life, and they're just wearing this world as a loose garment, and they're just really trying to seek God in everything.
Because God's been speaking to you about Revelations 19, 20, and 21 recently, about this world not being our home. We have more to look toward, and I think it was in your text message. It's like what we do here on Earth. You know what I mean? Influences that. So, I mean, you guys, you have to, here on Earth, we gotta, do what we gotta do, looking toward the future and live a life worthy of that, submitted to Jesus Christ.
Right.
So we have our own personal, not only is Kansas Matt a miracle, but we were super excited that Justin showed up out of the blue today, and our mom and Leah were like, we're doing an interview, and Justin's like, so it took a little bit of arm twisting, but I'm glad that he decided to do it because it was well worth it. And hopefully we'll bring you more updates from Justin, maybe every few months or so. Let you know, we'll show you some more pictures of his work. And y'all need to make a plan to go down and see the Ark Encounter. It's fantastic. If you're not familiar with it, the Creation Museum and Ken Ham are really where you'll have heard about. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, debated Ken Ham. Ken Ham built the
I
Ark.
forgot to mention that Answers in Genesis is the organization that runs the Ark and
They have the Creation Museum. It's connected
They've
to
got
them.
a popular magazine, and Answers in Genesis is
Where you can go.
who's doing that.
Are you taking orders? If anybody wants to order a knife or something like that, are you too overwhelmed? Are you backlogged?
Yeah, probably not right now at the moment.
Okay, we're backlogged.
Yeah.
Unless you got some sort of project and you need to spend $100,000 or $150,000 that's going to be super awesome, then you can contact us and maybe he might be able to fit you in. Just saying.
I don't think so. He doesn't work for money.
That's right. He doesn't work for money. He works for the Lord. He's working in that restaurant.
As the Lord want me to do today. So this is Resistance Chicks. Thank you guys for sticking with us, and
Thank you for being interviewed.
Thank you, Justin, for
welcome.
coming. And thank you for Kansas for sitting in. I think that you guys are headed to the scrapyard to get some more metal.
One thing also that is super cool about Justin coming up with his name, which was, can you tell people about that just a little bit briefly?
Bow Energies.
Bow
Sure.
Energies.
Yeah, me?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, just what it is. The name of Justin's kind of business, as we'll call it, his blacksmithing, is Bow Energies, and it's really cool. Justin kind of came up with it thinking of him and Matt because they were, collaborators on everything while Justin lived here, and it's the name that Jesus gave to James and John, which means Sons of Thunder, which is really cool. So
I'm pretty sure it's called something like Heroin Destroyed by God.
okay.
Or something to that effect. But
Right.
they'll
Just
We'll
do some
put
search, you'll find it.
We'll put a link into the YouTube description.
Absolutely. This is Leah Michelle, Kansas Matt, and Justin, Justice B, signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and make sure you subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks so you get all the videos. All right, we love you guys. God bless.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So my name.